Good day, everyone, and welcome to round two of the JSR F1 2025 Championship, coming to you from the fast-flowing streets of Albert Park in Melbourne, Australia. After a dramatic season opener in Bahrain, the grid has flown down under another chapter in this already spicy title fight. Milan Langer comes into this round with all the momentum after taking a fantastic victory last week and jumping 2 spots to the lead in the standings. But of course, don't count out other drivers like Kevin Zumberg. Unfortunately, I don't think he's here tonight, so he misses a race. But a solid P2 Bahrain, and he's hungry to bounce back even though he's not here tonight. And Lewis Jones as well, a rocket up the order from P90 to P3 last week and bagging the fastest lap of the Grand Prix. That Aston Martin looks strong, and Lewis looks like he means business this season, but he's not here. But Albert Park, though, a high-speed circuit now with modifications over the past few years. High-speed chicanes, narrow walls, and tricky traction zones, a real test for any driver. Watch out for overtakes in towards turn 3 and the DRS zones between turn 10 and turn 11. We can expect some fireworks. But further down the field, though, Misha Fairblades and Robert Jacobs shown strong consistency, all finishing inside the top 6. Meanwhile, drivers like Sasha Hood, Ryan Benning and Amos Eric will be looking to bounce back after a tough outing in Bahrain. Didn't really show any pace, did they? But the championship is very young. It is the second race of the season, and of course the grid is stacked and Melbourne is ready, so buckle in because this is the race to set to deliver, hopefully, because 4 DRS zones around here is going to be spectacular as well. Especially we'll see how the drivers get on as well with the entire wear, because I did a race around Australia I think 2 days ago on Sunday, and unfortunately I had to pit on the last lap because I had a puncture. So hopefully these drivers don't have a puncture and we can get racing around here in Australia. But last season, Australia, though, Robbie Jacobs was the star of the show here after he won and bringing it home in P2. In fact, he finished P2, making his second podium of the year. And Fireblades was right behind in P3, showing early consistency, what became a title contending season. Then Kevin Zumberg, who is now in the Ferrari, solid P5 just behind Stefan, who's P4 last year as well. And Khatikas scored P6, which contributed to his very strong mid-season form. Then eventually, the Ben Joke, the only 2024 champion, was P6 there as well. And one of his weaker rounds of the season as well, which he didn't win. And we got some cars there making their way out on the circuit, then around this circuit, and what a spectacular track as well. They got rid of that chicane. It is 5.2 kilometers long, and it can be very difficult, very challenging, but once you hook it up, it is very rewarding indeed then. So these drivers there have a challenge here tonight. Of course, 18 minutes on qualifying session in this short quali, and the 29 lap race we have in store for us as well. So let's see then how the drivers manage to do here. But Finn Hertz, a very quick driver on PC of course, and he's on the medium compound tyres to start his qualifying lap tyres. So don't expect much from these medium compound tyres. It is his first lap, it is his banker lap. Maybe wanted to save a set of soft compound tyres, maybe for the race, or who knows in this qualifying session. But here we go then, as we start a flying lap, as we head in towards turn 1 we go, then hard on the brakes into 5th gear, carry the speed through. Turn 2 is a quick left-hander as you want to flick it through. DRS wide open then as we head down towards the braking zone, in towards turn 3, hard on the brakes, down to the gears we go, into 3rd, lock up on the apex, hits the apex very nicely, bring it over to the right hand side to open up turn number 4, back of the throttle once again, use the battery you have available, heading towards turn 6, this left arm right hander we go, as we make our way now towards this modified corner of turn 7 and turn 8, as we carry the speed all the way through. Look at that, nice swoop on the steering wheel. Didn't have to make any changes or any corrections on the steering. This is one big sweep as you would like to do so, because corrections can lead to mistakes as well. We've seen plenty of people hit the wall in towards turn 6, including Lando Alonso last season, but of course it was a wet race in Australia. As we continue down towards turn 9 and turn 10, at high speed, committed, headed down in towards the heavy breaker zone, in towards 11 we go, clips the apex, runs out wide. This seems to be a decent lap time so far, despite being on the medium compound tyres, despite the track not being his best. He still sets up a good lap time then. So when we get on the top compound tyres later, we could see some formidable things here. But I expect pole to be a low 15. Here we go towards the line, a 15.4 on the medium compound tyres. That itself is super quick. And if he's doing that on the mediums in the early stages qualifying, then we're in for surprise later on in this qualifying session then. So there is your lap time to beat, but of course I think these people might beat it easily. In fact, I couldn't even beat it. My best lap time was a 15.6 on the soft compound tyres. A 15.6, that's 2 tenths slower, as Timmy Boy goes up into P2, now replaced by Fireblaze, who slots himself behind Finn Hertz, his former teammate of course in another league, as he puts himself into P2 in the Alpine. Alpine had a nonchalant race, I dare say. They didn't really show much. They were in P5 and P6. They broke the DRS and they were quite, well, they were alone, weren't they? as very joke, the 7-time champion in the Williams is P3. No, we know what happens when people win 7 championships, don't we? They don't win an 8th, as Michael Schumacher found out after being beaten by Fernando Alonso in 2005, after Lewis Hamilton found out after being beaten by Verstappen in 2021. I'm going to mention about the controversy because obviously we all got different opinions, plus it was 4 years ago, so I ain't going to mention what happened. But yes, Verstappen took the championship away from Lewis Hamilton in that year as well, and they both deserve it. Regardless who won, they both deserve it because they both showed us a fantastic season. And the Haas has gone out turn 6, so I wonder who that could be down towards turn 6. It's not Finn because he's in the pit lane. Torpe could have issues down towards turn 6. He's gone off the track there, so I wonder, did he make a mistake or something like that? Did he win in the gravel? I'm not quite sure. Did he spin? However, it has ruined his first lap time, so I'll have to go through it again. But looking for him, there's plenty of laps, plenty of qualifying time to go, as Venjo or Haitikas may get held up by an RB who heads off in towards the pit lane. So very lucky there for Haitikas as the McLaren driver out the final corner with the DRS open. Let's see where the Dutchie can go. He goes up into P9, and that's super close as well. 16.5 as well for Haitikas. It is very difficult. Australia's a mixed one for me because I do find it difficult, but once you hook it up, it is such a lovely circuit to drive as well. First introduced in 1996, of course, where Damon Hill won and became the champion because I think Jack Villeneuve had an engine failure as Eric goes up into P2 with a 15.6 in the Aston Martin. I remember Jenson Button as well also had an engine failure, as the commentator James Allen says, "Get out of the car, Jenson, push the car," but unfortunately couldn't do so. No Australian has ever taken a podium. Their best result, I think, was Daniel Ricciardo P4. Mark Webber finished P5 in the Minardi on his debut there as well. But no Australian has ever finished on the podium. And you'd be thinking, what about Daniel Ricciardo, 2014? Yes, he did finish the podium, but after the Grand Prix, he got disqualified because of fuel or something. And that was a terrible race for Red Bull because Sebastian Vettel, his race was ruined before he even started because of the Renault power unit by then being absolutely abysmal. And Daniel Ricciardo, despite finishing P2, there was high hopes for him, but unfortunately he got disqualified. And that's when Kevin Magnussen scored his first podium ever in Formula 1. Imagine that. Imagine your best ever race result was your first race of the season. After that, you don't get any podiums or anything else like that. Yeah, it must be a shame for Kevin Magnussen. Obviously he didn't peak in his first race, but he definitely he showed his best in his first race for sure. I don't know how Magnussen did that, finishing in P2. We had high expectations. I had high expectations because he beat Jenson Button, who's been in McLaren since 2010. As Mike goes off the track in towards turn 10 there, doing a bit of Timo Glock off the track in 2008 where he bounced over the gravel and ruined his car. But luckily the structure of these cars are much more sufficient these days. The integrity of the cars is very strong as well, so we won't see any of that. As Kenji then out of turn number 10, he goes in the Mercedes then. Let's see how he does going down towards turn 11. This can catch up people out as well. We saw Fernando Alonso, who crashed it, I think, in 2022 when he qualified. He just went off the track, but I don't think he did it by mistake. I think he had a problem or something like. I'm quite sure what it was that day as well. But here we go, Kenji out of the final few corners. We go in towards the final corner. Not really taking the approach he needs, but I thought it was a very cautious approach there. As Kenji goes up into P60 behind Champ, it's a 17.1. So we've got a widespread, a mixture of times going on here as well. As Kenji just finds his feet. But 8 minutes of this qualifying session has gone. So we're just awaiting then for the second time to arrive. But so far, nobody is beating this man in first place. As he heads off into the pit lane, he's still out there on those mini compound tyres, surprisingly. So was he going for another lap? Did he come on the pit lane, go for a lap, and then back off? I'm not quite sure. But he's in the pit lane right now. Did he mean to go on the mini compound tyres? Did he forget? Because he didn't validate. It was on his out lap. He did see out lap to pit, so I think he made a mistake there. But here comes Fireblaze then in the Alpine, runner-up in the championship before in JSR as well, runner-up in other championships as well, as he usually is a runner-up. But here comes Fireblaze towards the line. He goes. Behind him is his teammates there in the Alpine. So let's see how he does as Philip gets a 5-place grid penalty for a collision with Timmy Boy. Where are those two currently? Come a bit of a cropper down there, so where are they currently? One's on the out lap down there in P18. What's happened there? As Timmy Boy was on a flying lap, so I think the conclusion is Philip got in the way and unfortunately got a penalty as Philip has left the session. So a bit of race quit there. I'm sure that Ryan Benink would love to have a conversation with him. But here we go then, Fireblaze on a flying lap in the Alpine, currently in P3. He's a few hundreds slower than Eric in P2, as his Alpine teammate is P10, Robbie Jacobs, as he's been replaced by a Red Bull driver who's up to P4 or 6, I think. I wasn't an Alpine driver, but Alpine and Fireblades went off wide, and I think that lap time is done for him. Oh, the Ferrari gets in the way. I think these drivers need to pay a bit more attention. That was Sasha Hood in the Ferrari, and the Alpine goes off the track. Oh, contact! Was that contact? I'm not quite sure. Did he get out? Oh, it was contact. Sasha Hood gets a 5-place grid penalty with Robbie Jacobs there, as Robbie went off the circuit, cuts the grass, and heads back off into the pit lane then. So, controversy and drama already here in Australia. We don't expect much drama in qualifying, but a few people hand themselves a 5-place grid penalty. Here comes Khatikas in a McLaren then, sitting on a 16.5, and we'll see how he does then, as EA sends me a message saying F125 wants your input in an email, as Khatikas has gone 4/10 quicker. Oh, he just invalidated the exit of turn 10 there. He'll be absolutely fuming because he wants to get himself inside that lucrative top 10 and in the 15s as well. Parasim has also validated. That must be at turn 2 where he's just done that as well. Misha in the Red Bull goes in towards turn number 1. Here we go then, on board with the Red Bull driver as he finished, I think. When he finished as well, I think he was qualified high at the Australian Grand Prix, or Bahrain Grand Prix, sorry. He finished in P4. Didn't he do a 2-stop strategy, or was that somebody else? Because we saw a few people do a 2-stop, including Lewis Jones. Misha finished in P4. He did do the also strategy from hards to mediums, I remember. But unfortunately, the mini compound tyres just dropped away from him, and therefore couldn't catch Lewis Jones, who did the 2-stop strategy from starting in last place. It was a double Aston Martin podium, but unfortunately, both Aston Martins are not here tonight, as LBC and Eric are taking their place as well. Eric was in the Red Bull last week, now he's in the Aston Martin, so let's see how he does there, as Misha unfortunately does invalidate, as Eric as well has a bit of excursion off the road there. A Punisher circuit around in Australia, but once you hook it up, it is lovely. Here comes the 7-time Dutchman of Venjoke headed down towards turn 10. I wonder, can he break the curse? Michael Schumacher and Lewis Hamilton, both 7-time world champions, but stayed in 7-time as beaten by Alonso the next year and beaten by Verstappen as well. So let's see if Venjoke can become an 8-time world champion here. But it might be a bit difficult because a lot of people this game have picked up the pace. Here comes the Williams driver as he makes his way towards the line. He goes up into P6, or shall I say stays P6. He didn't improve on that lap time, did he? Here comes Misha, but of course he did validate there on his flying lap. Eric on his second lap on the soft compound tyres, flying through the curb. He was super close to a validation there. There's an Alpine in the way. Oh, come on, guys. Let's pay attention. We need to pay attention because this is not great, is it? Yeah, so some drivers need to be self-aware on who's on the lap and who's not. And it's cost Eric, I dare say, a little bit, but Eric is down and he's validated there, so unfortunately he has validated there as his teammate LBC goes up into P8, puts himself inside that top 10 there as well. His first appearance here as Parasim or Milan Langer, last week's race winner, goes up into P7 behind Venjoke by under 300ths of a second. Here comes Parasim towards turn 11 right now. Back end stepping out just a bit on entry or exit. Now coming towards the fast right-hander where he can catch a lot of people out. I think I called Ricardo, I did say, in 2017 where he just spun and crashed in the wall. Was that a qualifying or a race? I think it was a qualifying because he started down towards the back in the race, didn't he? And retired. No, he didn't. I think he finished in P4. Was that 2018? I'm not quite sure. But Parasim then goes up into P2 and gets closer towards Finn Hertz. So the times are tumbling down. But so far, Finn Hertz has only set one lap time, and that one lap was on the mediums, and it was a 15.410, and that settles for pole position. That tells you how much pace he's got in hand. So that means he's not used any soft compound tyres, as it's a Red Bull 2-3 as Parasim, or shall I say Misha, goes up into P2 with a 15.516. And if I was here, I would be P4 right now because I did a 15.6, but of course on my last lap I made a few mistakes for the final sector, so 15.45 could have been the best for me. So I'll be up there if I was racing this league, but of course I'm a commentator. Oh, Misha there, a bit power happy at the exit of turn 5, of course, where Sebastian Vettel crashed in 2022 after not completing many laps because they had COVID, didn't see, in 2022 in the first race in Bahrain and Saudi Arabia, replaced by Nico Hulkenberg, returned in Australia, but I think Vettel had many issues with the car breaking down in practice and barely did any laps. And it was a terrible season for Sebastian Vettel, although he did have some good results towards the mid-season after finishing inside the top 10. The four-time world champion and also 2018's race winner here, Sebastian Vettel, beating Lewis Hamilton and Kimi Raikkonen. Hello, Dan. Nice to see you, mate. Dan, it's nice to see you in the chat, mate. I know you come in and come out every now and then, so it's nice to see you. Of course, a long-time friend since, 2019, 2020, all those years ago. All those years ago have just passed, haven't they? And, yeah, it's nice to see you pop in the chat now and then. I know you're a PSGL commentator and you do other leagues as well. I'm also a PSGL commentator doing F1 or F2. Don't know which season, but I'm really glad to see you still doing well, mate. And, yeah. Good luck as well on your commentary journey in the future, whatever it may be. But of course, Dan was one of the first people that commentated with me, and look where he's progressed now. He's on PC, and I'm very, very proud of what he's managed to achieve as well. Mummy Nick in the first set improves by 0.03 of a second, and we know last season, or last game shall I say, Mummy Nick did struggle, and unfortunately for him, he has backed off there. Did see a bit of a slide out of turn number 6, I think, and Tim is validated as well. So majority of people are back in the pit lane. Now this man is on the soft compound tyres. My prediction is going to be a 15.1. That's my prediction. And if he beats that, wow, that is an absolute incredible time there. Nobody seems to be matching the pace of Finn Hurst up there in P1 so far. He can sit in the pit lane and do a Sebastian Vettel if he wants and just sit there and retire. But of course, he wants to improve. He wants to show the world or show the drivers what he could do and give his full potential. So this is going to be an absolute flyer of a lap as he rounds the final corner. Then here we are with the DRS wide open. DRS, of course, first introduced in this race in 2011 where Adrian Sutil spun out. And I believe Jensen Button was the first one to use it down the straight on Kobayashi towards turn 1. Here we are in towards turn 1. A bit hesitant through there, so not really tidy, but still carries speed through. You saw a little bit of a correction down towards turn 1, but nice speed, however. Heading down towards turn 3, hard on the brakes, down to the gears, into third we go. Bit out wide there, goes over to the right side to open up the left-hander off turn 4 there. Bit of movement on the rear, heading towards turn 6 now. Flat tire right-hander we go, no problems through there. Although we've seen a few people make mistakes in the past, but look at that. He's a quarter of a tenth up, but unfortunately he has invalidated, or should I say 3/4 of a tenth, but unfortunately you can see there at the exit of turn 6, catching people out, has invalidated his lap time. And let's see if he dives off in towards the pit lane or goes for it again on this set of soft power tyres. But no, he can't actually. He can't go in the pit lane because there's only 1 minute and 45 seconds left to go on the clock here. So a bit of trouble. I wonder, does he have the tyre life as well? Oh, there's a spinner in the wall, and off he goes. And that is Mummy Nick, I presume. It is in the Kickstarter as he spins once again in sympathy. Last person I remember crashing there was Felipe Massa, I think, back in 2013 when he crashed into the wall as well. But on board with Eric in towards 1 or 2. Nice slide through there. Nice speed coming through the corners as we head down in towards turn 3 we go. Hard the brakes. The DRS flap is shut. It does that automatically, or you can do it manually. But Mummy Nick has retired on the circuit. Of course, Eric, a bit of a slide out there in towards turn 5, so it may cost him a little bit of time. But he's backed off, so he believes that is not going to be a decent lap time for him. So a few mistakes, the pressure is on as the final stage of qualifying has started to emerge. And we're ticking down towards 0 here in Australia. Who can take pole away? Can Finn beat his own lap time? You assume so. Fire players there. A bit twitchy on the exit of turn 5 as he makes his way towards the end of the first set, so he's down by 0.2 of a second then, so I don't think he can improve there. Has he got enough time? I wonder to try. No, he hasn't. 30 seconds left to go. But Finn, 0.2 up already in the first set, so he was 3/4 of a tenth up on the last lap. But this lap, he is absolutely flying then, as the DRS is enabled, which is speeds about 325 km an hour. That is about 205 miles per hour as we head towards the end of this middle sector. He's down slightly, bit wide, off the track he goes, and that lap time is surely ruined there. Pushing beyond, way and beyond, and unfortunately the consequences are out there. So he will not take pole. He will. He's still on pole, by the way, on the medium compound tyres, but it depends, though. Can anybody beat him? That's the question, though. We've got every single driver out there except Philip and Mummy Nick on the circuit, as Misha is down in the first sector by 0.03 of a second, but unfortunately he has invalidated. Here comes the Dutchman as Fireblaze goes up into P3 in the Alpine. Nice qualifying, but here comes the Red Bull driver as he powers towards the line. He is P4. Just behind Fireblaze there, as Milan Langer, last week's race winner, goes up into P3. What's a lap time there for Milan? 5 thousandths away from Misha, as we've got more people coming towards the line. Eric is up by 2/10 alone in the first sector. Can he form out time? This could be and tidy. Look at that, 2/10 up again in this first sector. Carry the speed through, down to 6, but no! Oh, Eric has just invalidated there at the exit of turn 10. It must be so painful and frustrating. Cooking up a good lap time as Robbie Jacobs gets disqualified from qualifying, as we've got more people across the line then to complete their flying laps. So it is Finn Hertz on pole with a 15.410 ahead of Misha, and that lap time was on the mini compound tyres. What a fantastic display of driving there from Finn Hertz. What could Eric do? Eric was on course to go on pole, but unfortunately just invalidated there in turn number 10, and he'll be absolutely devastated with that one. Qualifying is done. I'll take a short break and I'll be back with you for the race. Welcome back, live from Australia Down Under in Melbourne, of course. First introduced in 1996 after Adelaide. As PokerShark says, I feel a Milan win coming. He did win the first race of the season, and that was back in Bahrain. So let's see if we can do it again. 2 in a row for the Dutchman of Milan Langer, showing some true strong potential pace. A good commentator, a good friend, and he is quite popular amongst the paddock as well. So I don't discount it, but judging by the pace of Finn Hertz recently, he has been absolutely mighty, has the Dutchman then. Australia, of course, now is the first race of the season, the season opener. I prefer the first race of the season, Australia, because it's such an electric atmosphere, beautiful country as well, and I'm glad that Australia is back for the first race of the season. In fact, Australia as well, this year in 2025, is still the best race of the season, I dare say. Of course, we saw the wet weather conditions being thrown into the mix, and Lando Norris winning ahead of Max Verstappen as well, and George Russell finishing in P3. But here we go then, the 5 lights are about to go away, no formation lap, and we're ready in Australia. We are underway for the Australian Grand Prix here in Melbourne, and the Haas gets a decent launch off the line then as we head down towards turn 1. Here comes Milan, but Misha covers him off as we head down towards turn 1. We go the Alpine side by side, bit of contact between the Alpine Red Bull as the Aston Martin then squeezes through as Eric puts himself into P5 because the Red Bull was up. Goes the car in the background. There's a crash there between Gas and LBC. What on earth happened there between those two? I'm not quite sure, but they collided in the wall there as we see a few people dropping down, a bit of carbon fibre strewn across the track there. That is LBC. What's happened between him? That was the Aston Martin, sorry, LBC, not Eric as well. So Eric got away unscathed there. But here we go then as we head towards the end of the first set. It is Finn Hertz leading by Misha in P2 by 0.4 of a second. DRS being able on the next lap. But will Misha think about attacking Finn Hertz immediately, or will he sit behind and wait patiently for the long game as well? We've seen that plenty of times. Mike there looking to make a move. Is anybody willing to make a move towards turn 9 or turn 10? Because every time we see a move here, it is always spectacular to see as well. Depends if you have the bravery to pull it off and slow the car down before turn 10 as we make our way down towards the braking zone in towards turn 11 now. Early drama going on in the first lap of this Grand Prix. The Alpine of Robbie Jacobs there being pushed as he had a 5-place grid penalty. He's in P13 right now ahead of Gas and Robbie Jacobs, of course, two high mighty drivers, but unfortunately they're down there in P13 and P14 with the two kick salvers, but all 20 drivers then still away as Finn Hertz sets the fast up of the race with Misha lurking in the background right behind. So let's see the tyre strategy, what people have gone for. So Finn Hertz has gone for the hardcore power tyre, go for a long stint on the hards, while Misha is on the mediums ahead of Milan Langer and Fireplace. Those three are on the medium power tyres. Power Team Eric, Venjo, well Mike is on the hardcore power tyres. We saw back in Bahrain, with no safety cars, how detrimental the harsh medium strategy was. So let's see if that has an effect here in Australia. Depends if these guys have the pace or not. But of course, the medium power tyres towards the end of the Grand Prix as we see Misha rise to the back of Hertz, puts him under immediate pressure. Here we go with the DRS wide open. He needs to get past on the medium power tyres, but once you pass somebody, it's difficult to break away from the DRS. You need the pure pace to break out somebody's DRS. Of course, dirty air will have an effect on this game as well. So watch out for that if some people might get caught up, because I definitely got caught up with the dirty air when I had a race around here in Australia 2 days ago. But of course, it was a wet race as well. But now Misha is in the lead of the Grand Prix. Goes a bit deep out of turn 11 there as he uses all the curb on the outside, as you would have wanted to as well. Be very careful how you use the curbs around here as well. But Finn Hertz, he knows on the hardcore power tyre, so he can just settle in on the hard and sit behind and wait for the DRS, because the medium power tyres do fade away quite quickly in the early stages of this Grand Prix then. So I think Finn Hertz, if he stays in DRS at this stage, will have the best seat in the house to take control of the Grand Prix, as he's right behind once again then. He's used a lot of batteries, Misha, so already demolishing his battery there, and he needs to be very careful because there's 4 DRS zones around here. If you don't have the batteries to defend, you're going to be vulnerable down towards those back 2 straights. So I think now Misha has to focus on his battery and try and harvest as much as he can to make sure he deflects the attacks from behind as well. But Power Team Eric as well on the hardcore power tyre, sitting pretty in P5 and P6 there as well, as we now flick our way through towards turn 8, where we saw Fernando Alonso crash there this year in the Aston Martin. Here we go then with Finn Hertz. He's going to retake the lead immediately and goes back up into first place. Of course, we see this in Australia as well. Plenty of times where first and second, they do tend to swap around quite a lot as well. They could take control of the race and they swap around, maintain the lead of the Grand Prix. Eric as well. Eric has already got a 3-second tyre penalty, and he did the exact same thing he did in qualifying as well. Here comes the RB down the inside, in towards 11 we go. Late breaking skills, Stefan trying to hold him on the outside there, makes contact again with the racing ball, but which one of those two is going to be ill? He gets forced off the track in the gravel, and unfortunately has to pay the price for that one as well. You're always guaranteed to get shot of gravel there, as he struggles for traction there. I think Stefan should have let him go. Oh, down the Eric goes Eric, down the order goes Eric. He's spun in the final corner. What a shame there for Eric, who spins in the final corner, and he had some amazing pace in qualifying, couldn't hook it up, invalidated his lap time, and he falls down in the race too. What a shame there for Eric in P16, as Ivan is in the chat. Would have loved to see you race, Ivan, but of course you're not on the PS5 or you don't have this game, so it's a shame here. But still Finn, he maintains the lead of the Grand Prix, followed by Misha and Milan. The problem is though, sitting P3 and P4, you're just following in that dirty air, following that DRS. You just have no say in overtaking, do you, when you're in that DRS of the guys ahead? You just sat in that DRS train. And Fireblaze, once again, I've talked about this every single time I've been on board with Fireblaze in the last game. He does have trouble saving battery there. You can see his battery percentage on 11%, while Milan Langer has got 75. So Fireblaze needs to be more conservative. He's used the battery in unnecessary places, and he needs to learn to harvest as well. Because if he doesn't, that's been the kryptonite, or the bane, shall I say, of Fireblaze, because he has lost a few races because his battery level has been so low. He's not able to keep the battery towards a sufficient level to keep the guys behind. Milan's pulling away, as you can see. Power Steam is putting the pressure on Fireblaze. Even himself, Power Steam's got 40% as well, so he can try and pull Fireblaze under massive pressure. But when you're in the DRS train like this, try and save it. Down the first sector as well. Sector 1 is a good place to save it. I know it's a high-speed circuit and you're on the throttle majority, but Sector 1 and Sector 3 is probably the best place to save as well. Put it in medium and try and save it. Put it in none as well, as Eric has retired from the race, unfortunately, as well. So bad rotten luck for Eric once again. For the second time this season, he has DNF'd. He finished outside the top 10 in the first race and DNF'd in the second race, so not been a good start to the season for Eric. What's happened to his form recently? But look at Finn Hertz, he's almost pulled away from Misha already as well. We talked about those hardcore power tyres as well being so great and durable in the first stint. I don't think there's much difference between the mediums and hards when you first starting them. Not much of a difference. As long as you can stay in the DRS range of somebody on the hardcore power tyres, doing the ultra strategy, you're sound. But the only thing that can go wrong Finn Hertz right now is a safety car coming out in a few laps' time, because you take the risk, don't you? When you're on the ultra strategy on the hardcore powered tyres, you take the risk of a safety car potentially coming out as well. But it's not in your control, it's not a variable you control, it's other people's in control as well. So you best hope and pray that other people around you don't pick up or don't crash and cause a safety car. Vice versa as well. It can work either way or it can come back in your favour. Sometimes the pendulum might swing towards the other's way in the first safety car. Second safety car, the pendulum swings back in your way. So it goes around and roundabouts in Formula 1, doesn't it? You just don't know what's going to happen next. But so far, Finn Hertz leads the Grand Prix ahead of Misha and Milan. Misha once again showing some strong pace. Now, in the Bahrain Grand Prix, he did start on the hard compound tyres, and when he pitted for that medium compound tyre, didn't have the pace, did he, to try and catch up towards the Aston Martin pair of Kevin Zumberg or Lewis Jones as well when he was racing in the Aston Martin last week. But Aston Martin went from a double podium in the first race of the season down towards the back with LBC and Eric down in 19th and 20th then. So a fantastic, superb start to the season in Bahrain. But down under in Australia, they've got themselves towards the bottom end of the field as Stefan has overtaken Robbie Jacobs. He puts himself into P11 there. You can see that little scrap going on between the guys outside the top 10. Sasha Hood had good pace last week in Bahrain, but seems to be struggling a bit as Timmy Boy cuts the corner, as you can see evidently there, in towards turn 9 and turn 10. But Misha went from dropping outside the DRS range to almost overtaking Finn Hertz. That's the power of the DRS as well. It's very important. It's a must to stay in DRS range in this race because it can make or break as well. DRS is not just a tool for overtaking, it's just a tool for strategy as well in the race, to defend, to drag people along, to bring yourself along as well, wait later on the Grand Prix. Because DRS was a mechanism, a tool to allow overtaking, but we see these so-called things as DRS trains, don't we? Where somebody used the DRS train DRS off you and stay behind you. And the conundrum really is, the story really is with DRS, is that if you're second place, you've got control, haven't you? Keep third place behind, keep the lead in front of you, and you can overtake whenever you want, as long as you keep third and fourth behind. Sometimes we might see the occasion where third and fourth had enough, so they use the battery, they harvest and dump the battery as well, to force the other driver into overtaking first place. We've seen it plenty of occasions on the last games. That's the best way to describe DRS. Of course, DRS has helped in the modern day Formula 1, because without DRS, my god, there'd be absolutely no overtaking in terms of real life F1. You rely purely on your skills, and the dirty air comes off the back of the car as well, as Robbie Jacobs has picked up damage as well, I'd say, on his he's lost double his end fences, there we go. Lost both his end fences as he's losing a front wing there in the Alpine. Lap 7 out of 29 now, and Misha is struggling as Robbie Jacobs has a bit of excursion off the track again, and the gap is 1.2. So Misha has lost the DRS. This is the time for Finn Hertz now. Break away, use those hardcore power tyres to his advantage, because the hards would be better on the mediums. Maybe Milan has to overtake Misha to get himself in front of him and bring the gap down to under a second. That's what you're going to do now. And that's the only chance of trying to defeat Finn Hertz, because his pace has been absolutely mighty from the get-go since qualifying. We flick our way now towards turn 5 and turn 6. You can see the guys behind losing so much pace as Heiter Gas gets himself a 3-second time penalty for his wall down for P17. He pitted. Yeah, he did pit quite a long time ago. So, yeah, his race has been slightly compromised, whatever happened to him in the first open up to the Grand Prix. But here comes Milan now. He has to overtake, he has to bring that gap down. The benefit of the DRS as well, that you get 2 doses. There's one DRS, there's one detection point for 2 DRS zones, but Milan can use the DRS on that straight and use the DRS on this straight to bring the gap down. So that's the advantage he has. But if he can't bring it down, that might be a bit of a tall order to try and catch Finn Hertz, because of course on his hard compound tyres, when have much better pace, he's got clean air. And Fireblaze loses the car out of turn 11, doesn't he? He was running the P4, P5 choice to the Grand Prix, didn't he? Fireblaze at the Bahrain Grand Prix, as we now head towards the final corner to start lap 9 at 29. When will these medium tyres or runners start to pit as well? Because I'm sure that the medium compound tyres now will start to degrade. The tyres will be skyrocketing in terms of temperature as well. The grip will be gone. Once the medium compound tyre goes, it goes and it degrades heavily as well around the circuit, or any circuit as well. Not a good tyre to be on when it starts to get older. You can see the tyres as well starting to degrade a bit as well. It's more open, more visible on the tyres on this game. You can see the tyres starting to degrade there as well. You can feel it as well. I know in the actual F1, there's something called grading, but when it comes to grading in the Formula 1 game, you can't go through it, can you? You just got to stick with it. So, grading in Formula 1 with the tyre carcass starts to open up. You can go through it, and you can reduce it as well, and bring the tyre carcass temperature back down. But in F1, on this game, it's not realistic like that, so you don't really get to see that type of threats where people take the mid-compound tyres longer because they've been to a grading phase. The tyres get older and older, there's no bringing them back. The gap is 2.3 seconds as well between Finn Hertz and Milan Langer. So I think that the battle for P2 now for the podium is going to start to shape up, as Finn Hertz in the Haas will pull away from the rest of the field because his tyres and his pace is simply much better than everybody else as well. So I think now that this race is in his hands, now he's broken the DRS, now he's got the advantage, he can pull away and start settling as well. Can't relax, you can never relax in the Grand Prix, can you? Always 100% pace, always pushing, try and bridge the gap, because you never know if a safety car could come out as well. Never know as well that anything can happen during the Grand Prix. So you're going to keep pushing 100% as well at all times, and he should have a big advantage. And here comes the Red Bull down the inside, a bit hesitant going in towards turn 3. He thought about it, didn't he? But Fireblaze had just the car in front of him and stayed ahead for the time being. I had the race line going in towards turn 4, and there was nothing that the Red Bull driver or Power Seam's tyres should be better as well. So that's why he's putting an impression. He's been stuck in this DRS train since the first lap of the Grand Prix, and now you can sense that other people on the mid-compound tyres will start to fall off as well. So this is his big chance. Same with Mike in P7. He's been a bit conservative down there in P7, not really much from him, although it is difficult to try and overtake in this DRS train. But surely now the hard compound tyres have a massive advantage in terms of tyre life and tyre grip. So therefore we should see some overtaking soon from the likes of Mike and Power Team. If not, if they stay around this DRS train a lot longer, that's going to compromise and put jeopardy on their strategy as well before they go in the mid-compound tyres, because surely now they want to think about overtaking and pulling away from these guys on the mediums. It is a definite one stop for sure, it's not a two stop, but it's all about managing tyres as well, because I know that Australia can be an absolute tyre killers. Oh, the spinner! Fireblaze is in the wall! He has hit the wall, the exit on the final corner, and he has lost his wing as well, just lost it back in the corner. A rare mistake from Fireblaze, and unfortunately there has given up the podium there. What a shame for Fireblaze there, running in such a good position in P4, and now that mistake has costly huge consequences, because not only he's broke his wing, he's got to do a whole lap with a broken wing as well. That's a massive shame. Number Adrian Suter, who opened the DRS in towards the final corner in 2011 and lost the rear end and spun as well. Has anybody crashed properly on the pit wall? I don't recall many people doing it. Carlos Sainz did it as well. Carlos Sainz hit the wall there in the final corner this year, but of course I think it was due to mechanical issues, wasn't it? Not down to driving issues, but yeah, it's not a rare place to lose, of course. I've seen it plenty of times before in league races where people do it, but in terms of actual F1, not many people there have lost it in the past itself. As we head down towards turn 11, of course, the famous corner where in 2010 we saw Mark Webber and Lewis Hamilton make contact, didn't they? As Hamilton complained about being on a different tyre because he pitted for another stop and he didn't want to, did he? And he got stuck behind like Rosberg, Webber and co. And he rejoined behind Webber and crashed into him as well. Sebastian Vettel took the victory there as well. I believe Kubica scored a podium that day as well. But Power Team has overtaken this Red Bull. I think that's orchestrated, both of them being on different tyres, of course. So there's no point fighting with somebody on different tyres. You might as well let the Red Bull driver go through and focus on the guy ahead. So we've got a few people pitted there in the field. Milan Langer is up into P2, still on the medium compound tyre. So taking these meters quite a long way. Champ has got himself a second tyre penalty as well. Tyre management was key, especially back in 2013 as well, because Kimi Räikkönen had to take those tyres a long way, didn't he? I think he did a two-stroke strategy, other people converted to a three-stroke strategy, and Räikkönen won the race for the first race as well. Last race went for Lotus back in 2013 Australia, and he was the championship leader for only one race as well, wasn't he? Of course, when Räikkönen returned to Lotus, we expected a lot of things because he was an absolute monster in Lotus. People do forget he finished third in the 2012 championship after taking 2 years out as well, in 2010 and 2011 due to rallying. You can see Misha is starting to lose pace with his teammate there, so his tyres will start to give the ghost and losing the peak performance on them. And the power team now can focus on Milan Alanga in front of him, who's done a good race so far in P2, but now under pressure from the Red Bull. He's just overtaken the Red Bull a few laps ago, but now he's got the power team out behind as well. These guys are taking their mediums quite a long way, it seems. As Misha is pitting, so is Bench Oak as well, the 7-time champion, is in the pit lane. A bit of a quiet race for Bench Oak so far in the Williams, as he makes his way in towards the Williams garage on the hard compound tyres. On he goes. And where will he rejoin in comparison to the rest of the field then? Will he rejoin in clear? And remember, this pit lane exit is so tight. Somebody crashed into me in turn 1. They hit the back of me on the side of me, and it's so tight. Look at that. Barely any space given as Benjo goes off the track in towards turn 1, as he was a bit late on the brakes there as well. But somebody else has caused a caution somewhere on the circuit, but that goes very quickly. Benjo has just pitted and lost a hell of a lot of time due to that mistake as well, down in towards turn 1. It's so tight as well. You must obey the white lines as well, because stewards, admins, drivers, the snitchers will report you for exceeding the white line as well. I remember in Sunday's race where I came out and literally had nowhere to go, and Power Seam finished in goes up into P2, sorry, ahead of Milan Alanga. Surely Milan now starts to think about a pit stop, because the guys behind him are his main rivals for the podium. So surely this is the time now for Milan Alanga to pit and get off those mini compound tyres. Bit of a no-brainer, but let's see if he does it or not. Let's see if he does down in the pit lane. He does. In the pit lane goes the Dutchman, who won the first race of the season, as Finn Hertz once again extends his advantage over Land there. Almost speeding the pit lane, but just slowed the car down. And there's a McLaren off the circuit. Down in towards the rough area he goes. Khatikas, unfortunate for him, having a torrid time out there. Here comes Milan out of the pit lane. We're almost halfway in towards this Grand Prix, and here he is. The McLaren driver comes out. Where is his closest competitor? There he is, Misha, in towards turn 1. Milan taking a tight line, so Misha has more speed through turn 1 and turn 2. But he does not have the DRS, he doesn't have the battery. Milan has DRS though, because he was behind the Red Bull before he pitted. So a dose of DRS there to protect himself against his driver. He's racing for the podium, his fellow Dutchman. So halfway in towards this Grand Prix, it is Finn Hertz. The Harvarders are left the pits, but we know they elongated their first stint, going long in towards the Grand Prix to reduce the deficit on the mini compound tyres. And it should be interesting, will Finn Hertz get undercutted, or did he just build up enough of a gap to try and stay ahead of the guys ahead, the overcut strategy? Let's see then if Finn Hertz, when he pits later in the Grand Prix, will he rejoin behind his bunch, or did he build up enough of a gap there to stay ahead of the rest of the field, as both racing bulls there swap places? And Khatikas unfortunately retires in the pit lanes. That's the end of his Grand Prix. Oh, what a shame. Khatikas, Eric, two contenders, two strong drivers, but can't find their feet just so far in this leagues. I wonder if they're still adapting in this league, is Khatikas, or in the F1 game in general, because it's still early days. They're still trying to find out the balance. Oh, Timmy Boy slides in towards the board there and loses his end plate too for good measure. A bit optimistic on the traction there, I dare say. There's a caution in the first sector, but that is Khatikas' car retiring on the circuit, so there's no need to panic as we can settle down. So Misha did overtake Milan Alanga. He's up into P6 now, so those two are fighting for the podium, the net podium, but the VSC has just came out for some unknown reason. So the VSC is out as well. I'm just checking to see if there's a safety car. Mercedes has spun down at turn 3. Who is that Mercedes? Is that Kenji? I saw Mercedes stationary down towards turn 3. Was it him? Maybe the car was going so slowly because of the VSC, so it might not be him, but wow, what does this do for the Grand Prix? Well, Finn Hertz has been blessed with a VSC, as Champ gets a drive-through penalty for speeding the VSC. He was in 5th place at the time as well, so speeding there as Finn Hertz decides to pit on this lap time then. So the VSC hasn't really worked out for him as he heads off into the pit lane. Power Team does the same thing as well. Mike is well in the pit lane too to get rid of those hard compound tyres. Slowing it down towards 80 kilometers an hour. So Milan and Misha should go through. Look at this battle behind the kickstart. But here comes Misha around the outside towards the final corner. Risky move. Oh, he spun. Champ has spun the car. Was there contact between the two there? But that's what happens when old tyres meet versus new tyres. But here comes Misha ahead of his teammate. Finn Hertz rejoins in first place. Mummy Nick is up into P2 behind the leader there. Mummy Nick is actually up into P2. Surely there's no way he's thinking about attacking the race leader. Nope, that'd be an unwise thing to do, because he'd be overtaken immediately, and if he did fight the leader, he'd be wasting his own time really, wouldn't he? Big fight going on there. We've got a battle for P2 between Vejoke, who has brought himself into towards the race because he was quite quiet in the first team, wasn't he? He was like 8th in that DRS train. But a few people dropping out like flies while making mistakes along the way has enabled Vejoke to be brought back up into P5. But Power seems right behind on those mini compound tyres as well, so it might be a bit of a difficult ask to keep him behind. But the battle for P3 or P2 is well and truly on then. Only 2 more spaces for P2 and P3. Who will get it? Vejoke, the 7-time champion, Milan Langer with the most wins in JSR history, picking up his 29th win last week. As here comes the Red Bull up the inside of the Kickstarter, outbreaks himself but stays ahead on Nick. Milan Langer needs to get past quickly as well if he wants to keep up with Misha and keep Vejoke behind as well. So this could be a critical time now for to get past the Kickstarter. Can't afford to get held up anymore, but looking for him, he is going to go in the pit lane then, and will not get held up behind the Kickstarter, who goes off into the pit lane. A long stint on those hard compound tyres. Misha sets the fast up of the Grand Prix. Finn Hurst has well and truly got this in the bag, hasn't he? Surely there's no way now for Finn Hurst to lose this race unless, of course, something happens like a safety car. As Champ has retired in the pit lane, why would you do that? I don't know why he's done that, but he's retired anyway, and he is out of the Grand Prix. And there's 3 drivers left in this. 3 drivers who have retired from the Grand Prix. 12 laps left to go. Finn Hurst has well and truly got this under control. What about, oh, safety car? Is that a safety car? It is. A safety car has been VSC, and VSC has been deployed again. So who else has been causing a bit of carnage out there? Was it Philip? Robbie Jacobs has retired in the pit lane, so he is out of the Grand Prix. What a shame, because we've got some big contenders like Robbie Jacobs, Hazikas, and Eric all retiring. Come on, guys, don't retire. I know it's so easy to retire and quit, but I literally was running up into 4th place on Sunday, and I had to pit on lap 28. Yes, sounds weird, doesn't it? Because I had 86% tyre wear heading on to lap 28, so I had to pit. And I was running up into P3 and P4, finished P9 towards the end. So just don't give up, man. I know it's easy to give up, but just keep going. Just keep going, man. So, Finn Hurst is pitting. It's a safety car, so that glitch is out again. Why is that glitch always happening? Power seems stays out there, but a safety car has been deployed. Now this gives me the chance to go to the toilet. Right guys, I am back and that's the toilet break done and we can get underway again. So the safety cars came out thrown into the mix. Unsure why this safety car has been deployed. It did turn into a VSC to a safety car, but we got it regardless, so it changes the trajectory of this race once again. Finn Hurst, who had a commanding lead in first place, now on the medium compound tyres, 2 sets of medium compound tyres. Let's see then if the guys behind on a level playing field this time. Milan Langer on the hards, which is quite surprising. Why is he on the hards? So medium hard strategy. Was that? Surely that's the what's it called? What's the strategy called? The harder choice, isn't it? You got the balanced, you got the softer, balanced, harder strategy. So that's 2 sets of new hard compound tyres. Is this a new set of hards, or is it the ones he? Oh, let's have a look, really. Yeah, he did quite a few laps on the hard compound tyres, didn't he? Well, it's a new set of hards. I wonder why he's gone for that strategy, which is quite intriguing there. The rest of them are medium compound tyres, but for some reason he feels like the hard compound tyres are the way to go towards the end in 10 laps as well. So he has no confidence in the mediums. Let's see if it pays dividends or not towards the end of the Grand Prix. But we're about to find out. It's going to be interesting now. All these guys push them together because Power Team is in the lead of the Grand Prix, but the guys behind on Russian medium tyres, of course, he has got a 3-second stability. Both Red Bulls have been doing a good job so far in this Grand Prix, must be said. Double Red Bull podium, but how long will that stand? Paul Farblaze as well, down in P11, who had misfortunes in the first stint, spinning in towards the final corner and broke his wing. 10 laps left to go. What's going to happen? This race has belonged to Finn so far. Yeah, there we go. This race has belonged to Finn so far, and will it get taken away? Will he keep control of the lead of the Grand Prix? Will Misha, Milan, Venjo put pressure from behind? It'll be sad to see that if Finn doesn't win the Grand Prix. It'll be absolutely devastating considering the pace he's had over this session. Still quite hot in the UK, so I'm absolutely sweating as well, trying to get some water down, and the fans on as well, so apologies if you do hear the fan in the background. It is absolutely boiling still in the UK. That's what happens when you have a small room. It gets hot quickly. Not a lot of surface area either to try cool it down. That's the disadvantage of having a small room. It gets hot very quickly, and I'm absolutely sweating as well. But with 10 laps left to go, the safety car is in towards the end of this lap, and we can presume racing once again then, as we can see that Power Team will have the prerogative when to go, and he can make the calls when the drivers decide they can race. Obviously, he can't overtake before the safety car line, or the checkered flag, or the finish line, shall I say, so we've got to wait till then. That's what Charles Leclerc did, is waited till he got past Max Verstappen before the finish line, when Verstappen almost spun out of the corner of turn 12, I believe it was. Here we go then. This should get very interesting. And you know what happens when there's like a little sprint race towards the end? A lot of drivers get desperate. A lot of drivers there looking for opportunities, as they know. They're all pushed together. Have a second chance at the bite of the cherry, essentially, as well. So here we go towards the final corner. We can presume racing once again as all the drivers get backed up. But when is Power Team going to go? Now he puts the power down, and away we go then for the 10-lap race around here in Australia. And Power Team leads, got a nice clean restart ahead of Finn Hurst as the other Red Bulls behind. So good Red Bull play games a bit with Finn Hurst there, splitting the strategy, giving themselves a bit of chance there. But the Red Bull was split out of turn 2, and now Milan Langer is on the back of him as we head down towards turn 3 we go, but no moves so far being made in towards the third corner. Milan, of course, on the hard compound tyres. Mercedes, no way. But I say, if you went for the move there, he would have spun, and I know what it feels like as well, because you get chopped off. There's nowhere to go. It's so tight, and of course the guy in front of you could close the door. So luckily for him, Mike did not make the move in towards turn 5. Otherwise, could have ended in big consequences and in disaster for him. But no DRS so far, as Power Team though still leads the Grand Prix. I expect him to get under massive pressure from Finn, but maybe when the DRS opens, that's when we'll see the pressure start to dial in for Power Team. As Kenji picks up a 3-second time penalty in this race, as Mike right behind the Williams of Venjo, but doesn't go for the move. Here comes the RB of Tim on the inside. Nice move from Tim. Mummy Nick left enough space, and through goes the RB to put himself into P7 and ahead and in towards the top 7. Timmy Boy and Tim, quite two interesting drivers as teammates together as well. as we now head on towards lap 22. The DRS will be enabled then, so this is when we'll see the DRS play. And will it be a big DRS train like it was in the first stint when we saw these guys? But look at Power Seam. He's actually pulling away from Finn Hertz, dropping him almost out of DRS range. Look at the ERS management he's got as well. So where's his pace come from? From Power Seam here in first place. 2 lap old tyres, but still the gap's almost a second. Can he break out the DRS range before the DRS detection point and allow his teammate to overtake Finn Hertz, therefore be a Red Bull 1-2? And surely Power Seam will let Misha go because of that 3-second tablet he has. So he hasn't broken the DRS so far. I was quite nervous for Finn Hertz there. Just losing pace towards Power Seam. Yeah, blistering pace, didn't he, in the first stint. Maybe these are his qualifying tyres as well, because he did qualify the mid-compound tyres and he did do a lap. So you only get 2 sets of mediums. He ran one of those during a few laps in the Grand Prix, and he used a set of mid-compound tyres in qualifying as well. So that's an observation to keep an eye on as well. Although the tyres are like 2-3 lap holds, remember, every lap is important as well. Tyre life, tyre wear is so important. 1 or 2 laps can make a big difference. So Finn Hertz, I do think he did qualify on these tyres as well, because he did 1 lap or 2 on the mid-compound tyres. He did about 3 laps, so like in lap, flying lap, then flying up again, but validated an out lap. So he's done quite a few laps already in these mid-compound tyres, if they are those mediums that were in qualifying, because he did do a medium in the second stint, but pitted again for another set of mid-compound tyres. So these are new, these are used, I think, for Finn Hertz. Maybe why explaining why Power Seam may have a little bit of advantage on him in P2, and why Misha is able to catch up a little bit as well in P3. Could that have been costed though in qualifying as well? Because you don't expect that type of thing. You think in your head, oh, I'm going to use these mediums in like the first part, but actually it might cost me as well towards in the Grand Prix because of the safety cars coming out, so it may have ruined the strategy a little bit. But with the DRS, the guys are bunched up behind. Fireblaze overtakes Nick. He's up to P9, looking for a recovery drive after spinning out in the final corner. May have dented his confidence just a little bit there, but the top 6. Look at this then, the Haas swapping lines there as Finn Hertz went to the inside, outside, but could not overtake down in towards turn 11. The Red Bull Power Team doing everything he can to keep the Haas behind, helping Misha as well in P3. We know Power Team can't win the race. It's all down to Misha, Finn Hertz, Milan and Langer in P4. Don't forget, Milan's still on the hard compound tyres, catching up towards these guys as well. So maybe later on, Milan could be a threat towards the end of the Grand Prix. So keep an eye on him as well. As we now fire our way through towards turn 1, these guys barely separated by anything as well as we head down towards turn 3. It's super close. Will the Haas go down the inside in towards turn 3? No, bails out of it because he knows the DRS is there in the first and second sector. Or the should I say second sector as well. The second sector is basically one corner as well, didn't it? It's from one corner out of turn 8 all the way towards the before turn 9 or turn 10. Here we go then. This is where it's going to get critical now. Let's see what the order is rearranged like, because now the guys have DRS behind. Maybe Misha will overtake his teammate as well. But here we go. Oh, there's contact between both of them there. And we're going 3 abreast in towards turn 9, but the Red Bull backs off. And side by side, Misha on the outside has the inside line of the corner. And he goes off the track. That's super close there. Super close. There's more contact involved as well. Milan Langer is boxed in behind. As we head down towards turn 11, Finn tries to get all the way around the outside, gets shown the curb as Misha takes the lead. Milan is up into P3 now as they go wheel to wheel in towards turn number 13. Milan muscles his way past in towards P3, but they went side by side through turn on to turn 10 and almost came into contact there. It was super close as Power Team struggles for power at the exit of the final corner. Here comes Ben Joke now, ready to strike, but the Red Bull driver does have the DRS. That was the most tense then this race has got. How on earth did they keep it clean there? I have no idea, because Misha goes squeezed against the wall on the outside there. Could have easily taken off his front wing, could have easily gone out wide towards turn 10. Could have easily just gone off the track towards turn 9 and rejoined unsafely towards turn 10. I've seen plenty of times in the past as well, but that was so close. That was super clever, good racing between those two. Although Finn did get squeezed off the track, you're guaranteed to get squeezed off the track. You're going side by side into a place like turn 9 and turn 10. One of you is guaranteed to go off the track there. But here we go then, he's getting tasty towards the front end of the field And I wonder, does Milan have an advantage? Could he be looking for a second win of the season? Does on the hard compound tyres, is that absolute blinder from Milan Lange in P3 there, knowing the hard mini compound tyres might drop off towards the end? We'll see. It's getting all crucial now, getting very spicy towards the front, because we all thought Finn Hertz had the advantage towards the top end of the field. But this time, that second safety car hasn't really paid into his hands. And he's fell backwards in towards that DRS train. He was looking to try and bring it home. But unfortunately, the safety car came out for him at the worst possible time. Three laps left to go in this race, and so far it is Misha in the lead of the Grand Prix ahead of Finn Hertz, Milan Lange P3, Pausi P4, Venjoke in P5, Mike in 6th place at a 10-5 place, Sasha Hood has been really quiet, Mummy Nick, Stefan, LBC, Tope, haven't really mentioned him so far, but he's only in P13 behind LBC and Philip in 40th place. Is Philip here? No, he's not, so he's actually not here. But Torpe gets ahead of LBC. LBC is also not here too, so there's only 12 drivers in this Grand Prix, unfortunately, we have. But it's still enough to make up a good race. Of course, it will come down to where you are. And look at this, Finn Hertz then, with the DRS wide open. He decides now to take the lead of the Grand Prix. Back up into first he goes. Oh, let's see who the victory will go towards here. Finn Hertz or Misha. It's all about where you are as well. Towards the last laps of the Grand Prix. Where you place your car. The final piece is on the board as well. It's very important to see which driver ends up in second place on the last lap, because that could be the key deciding factor to win the Grand Prix, because you have 4 DRS zones to try and overtake your rival in front of you. So maybe first place isn't the best place to be so far for Finn Hertz. He might have compromised slightly as well on towards the last lap, but we never know if Milan, Misha could change the order. With about 3 laps left to go in the Grand Prix. The guys behind as well looking interested there, but they've been stuck in a DRS train, and the Ferrari split out. So that is Stefan, who has gone for a spin. That's the second driver we've seen that do so far in this Grand Prix. Fireblaze goes through, up into P7. Oh, that's contact between the Ferrari and the RB. They both made contact there in towards turn 2, and they both end up in the wall. Not quite sure how that happened there. They connected those two. Lekker ding. Dankjewel. En jou, Julian. Ik hou van jou, jongen. Hoe gaat het? But the gap is 6/10 of a second towards Finn Hertz. Power Team has dropped out of the DRS range. Now Venjoke strikes and gets past. Is up into P4. Been a quiet race for Venjoke so far. Started out of P8, up into P4. So not a bad job there from the 7th-time champion of JSR. Dankjewel, Dog Tape, Dankjewel. As we head down in towards the breaker zone towards turn 11, where we might see some overtaking on the last lap. You never know as well, you could out-drag your rival. Depends how close you are on the final corner. To be super close and have a lot of battery installed to out-drag your rival. But look at Milan Lange. Seems to have more confidence, more grip on those hard compound tyres as well. So he may be a threat in P3. And possibly a factor as well, another factor to win this Grand Prix, another driver that could be up there and win this Grand Prix. Milan Lange so far has done a fantastic job this season. Although it's been 2 races, he's really shown what he's capable of. Improved dramatically from last season as well. What a guy, Milan Lange as well in P3. It's weird to say his name because I always commentate with this guy in P3, but saying his name on comms is just absolutely weird. So yeah, I'm not used to that. But he's super close. What can he do? He's got a lot of battery in store. Maybe use it on this lap to out-drag them both. Is this what you're going to do? Use the battery to try and out-drag both of them on this straight. It's happened before. We're 3rd place, going up to 1st place. Here we go then. This is going to get critical. Here we go. Misha might be forced into an overtake, but Milan stays behind though. Doesn't go for the overtake as we head out of turn 9 and turn 10. Heading towards the breaker zone. Is there going to be overtake? I don't think so, because Misha would be smart. He'll think about the last lap, being in 2nd place. 2nd place is possibly the best place to be in on the last lap. One more tour to go around this race circuit, 5.2 kilometres, and yet we still have no idea who is going to win the Australian Grand Prix. The guys behind have DRS, so what can Finn Hertz do against the likes of Misha and Milan in P3 there? He's going to be vulnerable down the straights then, so maybe overtaking Misha on lap 26 may have cost him, but if he stays ahead, the absolute miracle. Misha will use his head. He knows not to go for down towards turn 3 because he knows there's 2 DRS zones coming up, so it's all about being smart and planning your moves at the right time, being methodical, clever, clinical, And here we go out of turn 6. This fast right-hander. But look at this, DUS games! Finn Hertz is slowing down. Look at this. He wants to give the place towards Misha. That is a great check, I dare say. He shouldn't be doing that, I dare say, for Finn Hertz. He should not be slowing down like that on the racing line. It was on the racing line as well. So here we go. It could be 3 abreast. And here is the Red Bull driver side by side with the Haas as we head down towards turn that. Oh, almost close to contact as Finn Hertz goes off the track and retakes the lead of the Grand Prix. That's a legal overtake for sure. That's definitely a legal overtake. As Misha goes up into first place, but Finn Hertz will dive back down the inside. Oh, contact between the two, and they both got the track. Through goes Malanga. Malanga is up in towards the lead of the Grand Prix after making contact there with Finn Hertz and Misha. Milan sees a gap, he goes through it and says, "Thank you very much, mate, I'll take it." Red Joker's on the podium too, but here we are out of the final corner. Milan Langer, for the second time in a row, he won in Bahrain. This time round, he wins the Australian Grand Prix as Red Joker gets P2. Finn Hertz finishes in P3. Very, very controversial that last lap was, I dare say. Very controversial what I saw there. Milan Langer said, "Thank you very much, guys. You two fighting hard, which means I'll go through and take the win." And yeah, second race win in a row for Milan. I dare say fireworks will be going off in the chat. No surprise. That was a bit controversial. I think Finn Hertz doing everything he can to stay in first place. Cut to the corner as well, because I don't think he had any penalties or warnings. So therefore, cut the corner and try and get a good exit out of there to go back down the inside. Crazy antics from Finn Hertz there, desperate to win the Grand Prix, but sometimes you've got to let it happen. That's the way it goes sometimes, unfortunately. Well, that was a dramatic race if I ever saw one towards the end of the Grand Prix, and there are your classifications for the race, if it pops up, of course. The Dutchman on the top once again, with the 7-time champion finishing in P2, and Finn Hertz finishing in P3. McLaren boys celebrate in the background there. I wish I had a look like Milan. But there we go then. There are your classifications, and that is me done for today. So thank you for having me on the commentary box, and hopefully I'll see you all next time as well for the next race next week at 7 o'clock for JSR.